In the U.S., certain legal regulations for domestic surveillance expire at midnight on June 1st. Lawmakers still cannot agree on whether some controversial practices of collecting citizens' data should continue. RT's Guy Chichikan now joins me for more on the ongoing debate. Guy, thanks for being with us here tonight. Now, how is this situation likely to be solved?
Mass surveillance by U.S. spy agencies may come to an end on June 1st if lawmakers don't vote to extend some of the key provisions of the Patriot Act. They've been doing this every 5 years since 2001 when the Patriot Act was passed in the wake of 9/11. But this time is different. Edward Snowden's revelations have pushed U.S. lawmakers and policymakers to pledge to reform the government's bulk data collection. So they've come up with this new act instead of the Patriot Act, the so-called Freedom Act. It involves shifting the burden of storing data to the phone companies, who would then allow the government, the National Security Agency, to access the data. It would presumably mean the government would have to obtain a court order to search the communications. Now, the Obama administration is pushing for this new Freedom Act, saying that it has the reforms that the president promised. Having passed the House of Representatives, this Freedom Act failed to pass the Senate last week. It fell short of a few votes. In a last push to get this passed, President Obama has painted a grim picture of what will happen if the Patriot Act is allowed to simply expire on Sunday without a replacement.
I don't want us to be in a situation in which, for a certain period of time, those authorities go away and suddenly we're dark. And heaven forbid, we've got a problem where we could have prevented a terrorist attack or apprehended someone who was engaged in dangerous activity, but we didn't do so simply because of inaction in the Senate.
The Patriot Act, when it was passed, provided an extreme expansion of government surveillance powers. A number of European countries then went on to adopt similar laws. Sweden, for example, passed a series of laws allowing the government to monitor all communications going in and out of Sweden. France has recently allowed intelligence agencies to tap phones and emails without seeking permission from a judge. Some say that the Patriot Act started a new era of mass surveillance. It has infuriated civil liberties advocates who say the government scared people into giving up their freedoms. U.S. lawmakers are now about to decide whether to do away with mass surveillance by the government or whether to keep it but reform it.
All right, RT's Guy Chichikan, thanks for that. We know it's going to be interesting as this deadline looms, and you'll be staying across it for us. Thanks for that.